as of right now, we've seen other individuals. We showed up to court on non-custody, out of custody cases where we show up and there's nothing on calendar. There's nothing to do. So we show up to court. There's no documentation the court provides us. I take it upon myself to file at least like a counter arraignment form just to document that I was there at the courthouse, and then dropped it off at the drop box that they have for us in the courthouse. But at the end of the day, we don't know whether or not those requests are going to be responded to. That's why it's important, if you do anything at this stage, that it gets documented. The worst thing that can happen is you post bond or you show up to court, there's no court, and then a warrant gets issued down the road because they can't hear your case. So we're trying to take precautionary steps now to try and avoid those issues. If you go onto the court's website, there are resources. If you go, literally on the home page, there's a COVID-19 basically link, which gives you all the up-to-date presiding judge orders. So that's how we stay up to date as to what's happening in the courts and basically what is going to be heard. Right now, they're just telling us if you have a motion to file, which we have clients that contact us for probation violations and early termination of probations and modifications of probation, also expungements. Expungements are huge. Right now, during this time when people are unemployed, they're looking for job opportunities. They're trying to clear their record. So the only opportunity right now for an attorney to file motions without getting a court date is basically to file an electronic copy. We have to contact the district attorney who handled the case, send them a copy of the motion, and then also email the court. It's on their website, the email address that we would send a copy of our motion to. And then also I take a step further and I submit that motion in their Dropbox at the courthouse. I went to various courthouses, and you'll see some of the video footage that I have. Chula Vista, they're all operating outside. Nobody is allowed to go inside the building right now. Also downtown, you can go through the front door, but all the kiosks for the individual court operations are set up right in the front before security. So you can't really walk around the courthouse. Even El Cajon, you can go through security, but they have some makeshift business office that's set up in the jury lounge on the first floor. So you're not allowed to freely walk through the courthouse right now either, which we're accustomed to. We usually go from department to department, file our motions as necessary. But in today's world, we're just basically trying to handle everything with caution and making sure that we're abiding by the court's rules and regulations. So anything dealing with out of custody right now, it's going to be a while until the court actually hears your case. In custodies, they're getting those on the triage calendar pretty quickly. So we've had several cases already where they've been heard, they've been resolved, credit for time served, already people in custody looking at serious felony cases. I would say at this point in time, having a serious case in the San Diego court, this is probably the best opportunity to negotiate a case. Literally before I show up at the first court appearance, I have all the discovery. I've already had discussions with the chiefs. I already had discussions with the district attorney's office. And by the time I get to the first court date, we are already in full-blown discussion. We've already knocked out 3 or 4 different hearings just by the first time I get to that first appearance. And it's all done on the back end. So the district attorney's office has been extremely accommodating for defense attorneys during this time. And I believe they're doing the best that they can in their capacity. As a defense attorney, it requires us to have open communication and continuous communication with opposing counsel in their office, which has been pretty efficient during this entire COVID-19 shutdown. However, getting any sort of real input or direction from the court has been quite difficult. We had an expungement granted already during the COVID-19. However, I had to create a stipulation with the district attorney's office, send it off to presiding in an email, and she luckily granted it for us. However, in the future, all sort of motions, even stipulations, have to go through the general mailbox, which they're combing through. They were talking about, in excess of 88,000 cases. At this point, it'll probably be over 100,000 cases that they're dealing with and have to reschedule and send letters out. So right now, most likely what's happening is they're going to send letters to the attorney of record if they've already made an appearance on the case, or they've already reached out to the courthouse letting them know that they're the attorney of record on the case. Or if there are no attorney of record on the case, then they're going to resend the letters to you as an individual who either posted bond or received a citation, and you provided your mailing address to either the sheriff's department or the court when you were initially contacted by law enforcement. You have to understand, you make sure 100% that your address is updated with the Department of Motor Vehicles. The DMV has an accurate forwarding address for you. Also, USPS, go to your postal service. If you have moved, or because of the COVID-19, we are seeing a lot of people that aren't necessarily staying in the same places because rent has been very difficult, and they've been moving in with friends, or they've gone to either their parents' house. Wherever you may end up during the COVID-19, make sure to forward your mailing address. That's going to be very important, because worst case scenario would be if 6 months goes by, you don't hear anything, and courts resuming as usual, and there's a warrant issued for your arrest, but you have no notify letter that you had to appear in court, since that was never forwarded to you, and there's no information regardless, and now you have a bench warrant that you have to clear, that you have to show up in court. Even though court's being accommodating at this stage, they're giving everybody kind of a free pass, more or less, during this time, and not issuing warrants. It doesn't mean that that's not going to be the case literally a few months from now, once it's business as usual. So what I would recommend and caution everybody, at least reach out to a lawyer who can preliminarily help you with getting the information to the district attorney's office, filing initial appearances on your behalf with the court, so that your case doesn't get lost somehow through the criminal justice system and the backlog of cases that they're dealing with, and then they start blanket stamping all these warrants because people aren't showing up at court dates in the near future. So give me a call. I'm attorney Vik Monder. I will talk to you about the case.